Hi, welcome to Sex with Dr. Zen. Today I've got two great guests. We're talking about sexy nutrition and ecstasy with food. You're not going to want to miss it. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to the show. My guest today is Heather Thomas, a registered dietitian, and we're going to get some information on some sexy nutrition here.
Great.
Nice to have you here.
Thanks, Marianne. Nice to be here.
Yeah, the first thing I want to ask you and touch base on is some aphrodisiac foods.
Sure.
There's some of the nutrients in them to, get that sexy, spur, horny little thing going in the body. So,
I brought a variety of different foods.
Got a picnic here.
I do have a little bit of a picnic, a little sexy picnic for us. And I think we'll start with some of the spicier things, right? I have some cayenne pepper, some chili peppers, a little bit of Tabasco. You can't go wrong. And the thought there is that those kinds of spicy foods sort of get your blood pumping a little bit.
Okay.
So it gets it pumping all through your body, perhaps even to your genital organs, where
right.
you gotta get things spiced up a little bit. Mm-hmm. So that's sort of the sense around having some of these spicy things. The ginger is also a nice one too, because ginger, if you eat it raw, this is sort of, you can get it in the powder form as well, but
right.
this is in the raw form. If you slice it into some foods and consume it, it gives you a little bit of a tingly sensation on your tongue and on your lips.
Nice.
And it can actually make your lips look a little plumper.
Really?
When your lips look plumper, you're more appealing to your partner, right? So that's sort of
that's a fun one.
That's a fun one that you can do. I think of all this stuff here, I mean, we'll talk about the chocolate in a minute because I think everybody loves chocolate, but the basil has got to be my favorite. I don't know, it's too bad it's not smell-o-vision because you can smell the oils coming to that right away.
Yeah.
It's a very, very sensual plant. It's a very easy plant to grow at home, and you can use it in so many dishes. For me, I think that I always have this as a staple in my kitchen.
Right.
When you start cooking with your partner in the kitchen, and it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, the smell is very intoxicating.
It's very
isn't
intoxicating, and it really sort of spices things up in the kitchen, which is great.
What are those over there?
So these are some figs.
Oh, they're figs.
Yeah, and so interestingly enough, figs have always been thought to be sort of a food that represents fertility, as well as the female sex organs. They kind of look a little bit like...
They look a little like the vagina.
They look a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
And so the thought is that if a woman were to consume lots of figs, then that would actually help with her fertility. So it kind of gets her primed up for a great lovemaking session.
Right.
So maybe having some figs on hand is a good one.
Did Aphrodite have all of these things at
Well,
hand?
you know what? Interestingly enough, the term aphrodisiac comes from the Greek from Aphrodite, right? So she was the goddess of love,
right?
And so this is where the idea of having these aphrodisiacs came from.
Right. So yeah, you connect that with sex.
Yeah, exactly.
To accomplish that love goddess thing. Okay.
I think we should talk about the oysters. They're heating up in the sun, but oysters are sort of like probably the most infamous aphrodisiac.
Right.
People think about that word, they automatically think of oysters. And
what's in them that actually creates that?
The thing that's
chemical
in them is zinc, and so zinc is a nutrient, it's a mineral that's found in most seafoods, actually, not just oysters. And zinc helps. First of all, it helps for boys and girls to achieve sexual maturation, so it's important in that process. But it also helps to keep healthy sex organs running and operating properly as you get older.
Can you eat too many of them and turn into a nymphomaniac?
Well, I don't know if you could do that. It might not be. I mean, it's a good statement that you make. Can you eat too much of it? It is a very healthy food, rich in protein, lots of zinc in there, and different other minerals. Can you get too much of a good thing? Yeah, you can. Yeah. So we want to enjoy all of these foods, even though they're mostly healthy foods, in moderation.
Right. So tell me a little bit about a lot of women spur that little hormone that gets that pleasurable thing that where they want to have sex. So what kinds of foods can we take as women to just keep that hormone high so that we want to have, so that energy's still there.
Yeah.
If we lose our libido when we get into sort of a menopausal, premenopausal place.
I think that first and foremost, we want to try to include a lot of the dark green and dark orange vegetables in there. I brought some asparagus as an example.
Okay.
So they have a lot of rich folic acid in them, other B nutrients as well. So some good nutrients that help to not only keep your healthy sex drive going, but also in your hormonal level healthy, but also to keep your overall body healthy.
Right. We have to have happy hormones, don't we?
We do. And so what we want to remember is that eating a variety of these different foods and focusing on some of those darker green and orange vegetables and fruit more often is a really good way to go.
Tell me.
The honey is an interesting one. So, I think just honey drizzled on somebody is a good idea anyway. Forget about the nutrient part of it. But honey does have some nutrients in there that are thought to enhance sexual desire. So we should actually give a disclaimer all over, above and beyond everything though, because there hasn't been a lot of scientific studies really linking these aphrodisiacs to increase sex drive.
Right.
Doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. It's just that we don't have a lot of really solid evidence to prove it.
Okay.
That said,
are we still doing research on
we're
that?
still doing research on it, and I think that probably individuals can do their own research
For
to
sure.
see what they like.
Yeah, as soon as you eat that thing and it's like you want to jump into bed, then it's a given.
That's a check mark on the list.
What about the avocado?
The avocado has been known in Mexican culture. The avocados grow in a bush, and they've been known as sometimes called the testicle tree.
It looks like it.
They do look like testicles. So they
maybe both of them put together.
I should have brought two, maybe.
Those are pretty big single.
These are pretty big one.
Yeah. No.
Again, really rich. When you cut that open, it's nice, dark, green, ripe, beautiful fruit inside, and that is a nice addition to the diet in terms of providing that folic acid I talked about before, as well as those B vitamins. It is a little bit higher in fat, but it's a good type of fat, so we don't have to worry too much.
Cool. What are those, almonds?
Almonds, yeah, almonds are great in terms of increasing one's libido.
Right.
And libido is not just affected by food, but a lot of lifestyle choices, really. So when we talk about enhancing our libido, we want to take a look at our overall lifestyle.
Right.
What's our diet look like overall? What's our physical activity pattern look like?
Right.
How well are we sleeping at night? And a lot of these things change as we get older too, right? So it may not just be, becoming perimenopausal as women or hitting menopause as women. It might also be sort of those lifestyle factors that we might need to adjust a little bit.
Right. What about garlic? I mean, that to me just like I don't think I'd go near anybody that.
I know.
It's not a sexy smell.
It's not a sexy smell. It does have a nutrient in it called allicin, and allicin helps to enhance heart functioning, and it helps to improve circulation. So again, getting that blood pumping.
He should be having more.
He
garlic.
should be having some of that
to keep that heart strong, so he can go forever.
That's right.
Honestly.
So then, if we combine some of the basil with the garlic, it's win-win for everybody because it's a beautiful combination together in the kitchen.
Cool.
And I think that's where a lot of that, lovemaking doesn't just start right in the bedroom, right? We sort of move up to it. We start by cooking together in the kitchen.
Yeah. Chocolate here is it's going to be really yummy when it's melting.
Oh, and it's already halfway there. So the chocolate is a great one. And actually, earlier we were talking about having the dark chocolate has pimento in it, so it's a little bit spicy chocolate as well.
So we should be eating that.
A nice combination of that spice as well.
Nice.
And so chocolate actually helps to improve some brain hormones.
Okay.
So we eat chocolate and enhances the serotonin in our brain, and serotonin is sort of the feel-good, relax, kind of mellow out hormone that we'd like to have.
When we feel good, we eat the chocolate. We could eat chocolate when we're making love and having sex, right?
Absolutely.
Feed each other chocolate.
Why not? How about some strawberries dipped in chocolate or something like that? That'd be really nice. And it's just something that's very sensual, and it's you can melt it, and
You've got cheese here.
I have cheese and I have the chocolate and the cheese together on purpose because the cheese has very similar qualities to the chocolate in terms of making our brains feel a little bit better.
Right.
And so the trick with both of those are not to eat too much because cheese tastes delicious.
Yep.
Really high in fat.
Yeah.
So we just want to have a taste of it when we're enjoying it in moderation. And that's the idea of all of these things. Some of them are a little bit healthier than others, but they all can be enjoyed in moderation to make a healthy diet, healthy lifestyle, and a healthy sex life too.
bananas? Is that just all visual there?
I think
or?
there is some visual
So
for sure that goes along with it.
What's in there?
There's some potassium in there too, and so the potassium is good in terms of keeping blood pressure really good, and also participating in those hormones that we need for sex too.
Do you have when you have clients come to you, do you sometimes get the question asked, well, what can I do to spur my sex drive? What kinds of foods can you put them on a regime?
I think that I don't get too much into that kind of idea. I do a bigger picture look at what their diet is,
Right.
what is in it, what's missing from it, what's in there too much, and try to tweak it that way first.
Right.
Because I find that a lot of times people, if they just make some small adjustments to their diet, their energy intake or their energy level will go up.
Yeah.
They feel better about themselves.
For sure.
They feel better about engaging in physical activity, and those are all those pieces to the puzzle that go together.
It's linked
it's
together.
All linked together.
Yeah, it's a huge link. I mean, proper exercise and nutrition is a link that is required to go together with the sexual, healthy, vibrant sex life.
Absolutely. I mean, it just helps with performance in the bedroom. It helps you feel good about yourself mentally and physically.
Right.
And I think all of that is really important. I think probably the biggest sexual organ is the brain, right?
Well, yeah.
So once we start thinking better about ourselves and feeling better about ourselves, then what happens in the bedroom is just sort of a no-brainer almost.
Don't
right?
you think the biggest menu for aphrodisiac is just woman herself?
Absolutely.
For men? Honestly.
Why not? Exactly.
Really, if he's wanting to know what he can eat and what they can share with food and whatever. I mean,
there she
why don't
is.
you just eat her?
There
Put
she
the
is.
food on her.
Absolutely.
Eat it off of her.
I think we need to sort of play a little bit and find out. I think as couples, communicating about what we like, what we don't like, what we can try together, I think is a really great idea, and the success to lots of dimensions within a relationship, not just what happens in the bedroom. So.
Awesome. We covered it.
I think so.
There's lots more, I know, but it was great.
It's a little primer anyway.
The primers are good. It's great having you here.
My pleasure.
I love talking about sexy food, sexy picnics.
Yeah.
Great. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to the show, and my next guest is Louise Ferguson, who's also a registered dietitian. Welcome to the show.
It's a pleasure to be here, Marianne.
Nice to have you here. We're going to play with food this time.
Yes, we are.
How important is food when you're thinking about it in the bedroom when it comes to ecstasy?
Well, I think let's start at the end of that question that you said with the word ecstasy.
Right.
And what that means, if you look at the root of that word, ex means away from, and status, whereas status quo is norm, so away from the norm. So fresh ideas and fresh thoughts, new ways of looking at things.
Right.
So, and using our senses, well, really food is a tool. If you use your senses, then you can be very playful with food. And I told you I was going to tell you what I learned about the best way to eat caviar.
Yeah.
So when you buy a food that is precious or expensive, and you serve that to your partner, then it shows how much you value them too.
Right.
So you take the caviar and you ask your partner to put out his or her hand. You put some caviar right here in that little shelf. It's almost like a little plate.
Right.
And then you lick it off their hand.
Ooh.
Like that. Slowly. That's right. And you can do it again. So it's using the senses, and we need to focus more on our senses instead of the part of the brain that thinks, oh, I can't do that or I shouldn't do that. Just remember that to focus on our intuition and the very basic senses of who we are.
Right. Ecstasy is not sex.
Ecstasy is an experience about us feeling good about who we are. I'm glad you said that. Ecstasy is about relaxing, letting go, being in the moment, and allowing yourself to really be open to all the pleasure in the moment through that partner. And when we take that responsibility, if it's a responsibility, to be playful and full of fun, using food as a tool, then they have fun as well.
How much of an importance is it for men to get really attached to food in the kitchen and prepare a sexy meal
right. Well, I think
for his partner?
Yeah, two parts to that one. One is a lot of men or our partners love to have food made for them, their favorite food.
Yeah.
We went to the trouble to make it, and they can just sit down and watch us prepare. We want to wear just stilettos or whatever. It's then they might like it even better.
Yes.
So I think it's appreciating that person for his or her likes and dislikes. And when I was creating a survey for a new ebook that I'm doing called Food, Sex, and Living Young, and when I was chatting to a woman about how important is food in your relationship, she said, well, what it does is it brings us together because we cook together, we share food together, we talk about it, we plan about it.
Right.
So that's another level of togetherness about food.
It's a pretty sexy thing seeing a man cook.
It is seeing, yes, that's right.
It really is. And you get to see his side of that sexy side of him, whether he's having a hard time in the kitchen with it.
Yeah. And it's that nurturing part of the man that comes out when it's about food. I am the provider, and then I can prepare it too, because we see how much we appreciate it. Then I think we need to give that positive feedback to him so he does it again and again.
Sexy feminine side out of him in the kitchen.
Yeah, exactly. Food does that. And in the bedroom, then one of the things that you can think about is creating a fantasy picnic. I mean, it could be anywhere.
Yeah.
But I think in the bedroom, just once again, use your imagination and think, what foods does he like? What could I put in a picnic? Is it an expensive foie gras? Is it a champagne? Is it something like that you could just take that little picnic to the bedroom?
Right. What about visual stimulants when it comes to, imagining in your mind? Because that to me looks like, well, a nice plump bum. So
yes, it does. Put two of them together.
Peachy here, and it feels like, nice shaved pubic hair when it's just shaved. Like it's just, if you close your eyes and feel it.
Yes.
It's really important to have these also senses.
It is. And so the first thing is, you said it's the visual. So what is the color?
The breasts.
What is that? What does that remind us of? And it's all there in nature.
Yeah.
And then the texture. And then if you eat it, the sexiest fruit, that's what I found on my survey, is, can you guess what the sexiest fruit is if you think of all the fruits?
I don't know.
A mango.
Oh,
and
really?
Best eaten in the bathtub naked.
Really?
But when you just bite into that, then somebody suggested it feels like a woman's inner thigh, that same texture.
So you can bite into it and it doesn't matter, just let the juices all just roll off your chin and down your breast and get your partner to lick them off. Wow.
Exactly.
That's
it's very
sexy.
playful. So it's the texture, it's the flavor, and it's fun to put different flavors together. So you might think about putting black pepper on strawberries, or take a piece of juicy honeydew melon, a slice, and drizzle on lime juice. So your tongue goes, wait a minute, sweet, sour, and then just serve that to your partner.
Do you know
can you insert certain types of fruit, like if you're just playing with the genitals?
I suppose. I mean
what about grapes?
I suppose you
just
could.
Having your just warm and roast inside the entrance of the vagina. Have your partner try to get it out delicately.
Well, because I've seen it in lots of those old Roman movies, and even now too with grapes, feeding grapes.
The grapes were a big thing, hey?
Grapes, cherries, that's right. So it's just all about
slowly
serving and slowly. And
what about you pulling it away?
Yeah, you can't have that now. You can have it now.
So
I think it's all and there's so much to enjoy really with our senses. So to me, the key parts of ecstasy are the brain, not letting the brain hold you back, but tapping into the reptilian part of our brain is about pleasure, it's about survival, it's about food, it's about making love. Let's keep this generation going and be healthy. So let that part come out. Not too analytical, it's too high in fat, it's too many calories and so on, but just to be that robust, earthy goddess.
Tell me what this little baby here
is.
This one is so... This one, I haven't seen one of these, but it has an interesting little hole back there.
I didn't see that till you pointed it out.
I would just you didn't see the hole?
I didn't. No, I
Honestly.
just was looking at the color, so...
I'd just love to stick my tongue on it. Really?
When you cut it up, the inside is white with black seeds.
What's the name of this?
It's a dragon fruit.
It's a dragon fruit.
A dragon fruit. And the reason I brought it along was an example of how our brain is always looking for new things. Why should we be stuck in the same old patterns? So, wow, what's that? It always likes to say, wow, let's do something different here.
Right.
Let's have some fun. So, dragon fruit's a symbol.
It's really important to take food a different way when we're retraining, a new attitude.
There are 3 ways that we can look at what does food do for us. One is it gives us energy.
Yeah.
It gives us energy. We need that. The other thing is it's for our health. Very important to have a healthy body, to make love and to be appealing, to love ourselves. The third part is for pleasure. And we tend to learn that from maybe more the European people, the Francophones in Canada for sure, eating for pleasure. But it takes all 3, the energy, the health, and the pleasure together. And that makes us vibrant, and that makes us healthy, and we want to reach out and have fun with people with food.
Right. What about color?
Color, very, very important. And so red. And the other day we went to some friend's place, and she had made dried beet slices. Have you ever had those?
Yeah, they're good.
They're good because it looked velvety, and so I touched it, and no, it was crispy, and I tasted it was sweet.
Yeah.
And so color red is very important.
I see. I'm understanding that because we look at chocolate, it's dark.
Yes.
And you know, cherries are dark.
Yes.
And wine is dark. You know, really
It's
dark
rich.
foods are really rich and luxuriously.
Exactly.
It's that you get a pleasurable feeling, like plushy kind of a feeling with
do.
these dark, rich colors.
And you like a contrast too.
Right.
So you might think then if we had here yellow pears and lemons and limes,
Yeah.
there's so much to bombard our senses with in the form of color.
Right.
That's never ending.
What about when you hear somebody eating something?
Yes.
Close your eyes and listen to your partner bite into a juicy something and have.
Yes,
You know,
that's right. Exactly, and then you can share that too. So, and I think what you said too is just lick the food off the other person.
Cool.
Yes, exactly, and that's what's good about the honey dripping into the tongue or onto the tongue, and just anything like that. And you might be going, even if you feel like you're going out of your comfort zone, great.
Yeah.
Because we're playful beings.
Yep.
And why don't we be that way?
Use food so we can, get nutritious elements while we're having
Yes,
sex.
exactly.
You could go forever.
Yes.
If you bring all this.
Yes, and liquid. We need to keep drinking liquid too.
Right.
And I was going to tell you too a recipe that I created. It's it's brownies with beets and with cinnamon.
Oh, that's
because
kind
the
of
cinnamon
an
is very
interesting combination.
stimulating,
Oh.
and the beets are red, so the brownies look rich and brown and red, and then they have that little bite of the cinnamon.
Right.
So that's a fun thing. They're all different kinds of food that you can create.
It doesn't end, but it's all here in your book, Eating for Energy and Ecstasy. You can get it on Amazon, and I started reading it just before the show, and I'm going to buy the book. So it's great. Yeah.
It has lots of tips to remind us to be childlike, and to really have fun with our food and to enjoy our life fully in this moment.
Awesome. Great. Well, it was a pleasure.
It was really fun chatting with you.
It was
I think
really
we
nice.
could keep on talking.
Yeah, well, it was really nice having you here, and I learned quite a bit. Stimulating little exercises to do.
Do you want a cherry?
What about shrimp?
Oh, shrimp are good for you too because
Honestly, what about having them split open and having them dripped in, garlic butter and just like holding them right over your partner's mouth, and it looks like a nice
like
wet vagina.
Yes, it does. That's right.
Let's eat one.
Cheers
on us.
Delicious.
Listen to us, okay?
That's right.
There's the noise that's coming out from just having that pleasure going in our mouth. Once again, great having you here on the show, and looking forward to some ecstasy in my future in the bedroom.
You know how to get it, girl.
Thanks, Lois. We'll be right back. Thanks for watching the show. It was really great having my guests on today, speaking to us on ecstasy with food and sexy nutrition. If you have any more further questions, feel free to email them directly to me at sexwithdrzen@rogerstv.com. We'll see you soon.